Assalamu alaikum. Today I'm going to bring you the top 10 games of 2021 which you can get on a budget. These are all the games that are currently available on retail stores for $25 or less. I'm not including any games which are on Kickstarter which you will not be able to get. I'm also using the listing which are as per the release dates per BGG site. So for example, in my mind, I have the Key Here Mysterium part, which I wanted to put on this list, but then I found out that actually 2021 is not the release date of them, even though these games did become publicly available in 2021. So anyway, with that caveat out of the way, I have just strictly limited to 2021 games plus the games that are available on retail sites, even though BGG might mention them as 2021 games. But if they are just pre-orders, I have not included those games on this list. The reason for making this list is that with the increasing cost of games, that was a hot topic of 2021. I wanted to give a list to the gamers so that they know that they don't have to always break their bank to actually get good games. There are still so many good games that they can get, which they can get on a budget and still have a playable time with their family. So with all that fluff out of the way, let's get on with the list. On number 10 is going to be Botanik. I was displeased by the cover when this game was announced, but the thing that still attracted me towards it was that this game was designed by Jaipur designers, which is one of my all-time favorite game. This game is also a two-player head-to-head game in which you will be making a pipe network using tiles, and the biggest network of tiles that you make of a certain color, that's how much you will score in the game. But the cool mechanism in this one is the central board, because each time you will draft a tile and then you will get to place it either on your side or in the center. If you place it on your side, then that means you're prepping it to actually soon release it to come to your network. But if you put it in the center, then whichever tiles are surrounding it, those will get released to actually, then that means those tiles get prepared and it will get released to your network. But it will also release the tiles of your opponent as well. So you have to be strategically deciding that should I be at this time prepping my tiles or should I be releasing the tiles right now? Is it going to give advantage to my opponent or not? And that's how you will be deciding the factor. So it's pretty much abstract, but that little twist of taking the decision of when to prep the tile or when to release the tiles so that you can complete your network, so that adds a cool element to Botanik. So a very simple game, but adds a quick playing game which you can play over and over. Now on number 9 is going to be Subastral, a similar kind of mechanism to Lost Cities, and these both games, Botanik and Subastral, might be giving the same kind of vibes of two-player head-to-head Lost Cities kind of vibe. Now in this one, you will be placing cards in certain areas on certain clouds. You are mapping different geological patterns using biomes. Again, the theme is fluff, but the artwork is beautiful, and the again, unique mechanism in this one is going to be that once you place the card, then you will have a choice that either you can take the cards from the right side of where you have placed the card and score those cards, or you can take the cards from the left side of the pile and then take them all in your hand so that those cards become available to you for future plays, which you can place on your hand. But the card that you are leaving on the desk, that might be the card that your opponent needs to score in the future. So you might be thinking, just like in Lost Cities, that should I be playing this card or not? Might be giving the chance to my opponent to score that card. And those kind of choices are what makes Lost Cities great, and the similar kind of angst is going to be available in Subastral as well. So my number 9, Subastral. Now, number 8 is going to be a sequel or a refresh version of Railroad Inc. The one I'm selecting is Railroad Inc. Challenge the green lush edition. What they have done with the railroad ink is the basic mechanism stays the same. You have a bunch of custom dice, you will roll them, and then everyone will have dry erase sheets. These custom dice are going to have different train route symbols, and you will get to actually draw those routes on your dry erase boards. In this map, what you're trying to do is connect one route to other. Once you have connected, the longest routes are going to give you score. That's the basic game. The Railroad Ink challenge modes adds different challenge cards to the game. Plus, these different color versions of the game that they keep bringing out add custom dice to the game. And using these custom dice adds different mechanism. And in my opinion, the green version is the most gamified version. It has a lot of new mechanism, a lot of new building types, forests, universities, buildings, factories, which once rolled you get to draw, and using those you get special abilities which you get to reuse some of the dice, relocate things like that are going to be there which you can get to use. So if you want to bring your railroad into the next step, then the green edition is going to add a lot more variety to your game. Plus, if you have the older games, well, you can mix them up as well, and now the game will be available for more players to be played with. Now, number 7 is going to be Fantasy Realms. This is actually an older game, and if you look at the artwork, well, it's still an old game. I'm not a fan of the artwork or the card design of this one. It looks pretty old, but they re-released it in English for the first time, I think, and that's why actually it was awarded for the Kinderspiel as well, and rightly so, because the unique thing about this game is that even though it's a small deck of cards, but what you will be doing is that on your turn, the turns are very simple, that you will be playing a card, taking a card, and all you're trying to do is trying to make a very unique combination of cards which is going to score you the maximum number of points. Each card is going to have unique abilities or powers written on the card, and each card can have certain unique items that trigger based upon other cards that you're trying to get. So you would be wishing that I'm trying to make these kind of combinations which will work with some other cards. So that's the kind of patterns that you're trying to make. A very famous game, Red Rising, came out as well from Jamie Stegmaier Stonemaier Games during the same year as well, which was based on this. It was a bigger box, but if you're looking for something compact with the same level of gameplay, then Fantasy Realms is the more economical choice and the original game that you should go for. Now, number 6 is going to be Royal Visit, another remake. I think the original game was called Time Square, but I think the Royal Visit makes the theme makes more sense. Now, Royal Visit, as the name may indicate, that you are preparing for the King's Visit. It's a tug of war like game. It comes with a beautiful, now in this version, comes with a beautiful cloth mat, which represents this path that the king is taking, and you are trying to pull it towards yourself or the other player. This comes with chunky wooden meeples that you are going to push and pull, and you will be using different cards, and each card, which represents different characters, have different abilities. So for example, different abilities, the guards are going to allow you to do certain abilities to move the king, but the king will have some limitation. The wizard is going to have certain abilities, but certain limitations of how the king is going to get moved along this path. And using the abilities of these characters, you're trying to move the king on this path forward and backward, and making those patterns tactically, so that actually the king reaches your house rather than someone else and visits you. So it's a good back and forth tug of war kind of game. So Royal Visit, if you like those kind of two-player games, then this is a good game to have. Now, number 5 is going to be Exit the Sacred Temple. Exit games are well, they come out with exit games every year. Now, what makes the exit the Sacred Temple, and another one was also there released this year, the light deserted lighthouse. But I didn't get to play the deserted lighthouse. I played the Sacred Temple one. The Sacred Temple, what they did unique in these both two games is that instead of using the typical formula of exit where you used to have just a bunch of cards and you used to solve puzzles to have the escape room type feeling, in Exit Sacred Temple you will still be having the escape room type game, but in addition to that you will be having a jigsaw puzzle. So first you will have to make the jigsaw puzzle to have a scene being presented to you. So instead of a booklet that you used to open in the previous games and a scene was shown to you, here the jigsaw puzzle does make the scene. But how they have innovated the use of jigsaw puzzle into different kind of escape room type puzzles. I don't want to spoil it, but that's the unique element of this game, that don't think of it like a simple jigsaw puzzle that you make it and that's it. You will be using those same jigsaw puzzle pieces in different ways, and that makes this game very unique. So that's why on number 6, I'm going to recommend Exit the Sacred Temple. Now, number 4 is going to be 10. This comes from the famous team who brought us the Point Salad game and Truffle Shuffle. I never played Truffle Shuffle, but I have played Point Salad. But 10 is the new game from them. Now, this is a bidding mechanic and a blackjack like busting game where you will be flipping cards, and what you are trying to do is never exceed the count of cards more than 10. If you have not exceeded, so you will keep telling the dealer that okay, flip, 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 and if you have not busted more than 10 cards, then you will say at a certain time stop, and then at that time you will be allowed to take either all the number cards or the currency cards. There are only two type of cards. These are different 4 suits of colors are available. You will take all those, for example, cards, and using these cards, that's what you will get scored on. But if you take the currency cards can help you once someone busts, then these currency cards help you bid on taking the particular number cards that you want to actually complete your combination of numbers in the future rounds as well. So these are the different kind of mechanisms that you will be using, the bidding mechanism and the set collection mechanism that you will be here in 10. So it's slightly more complex than Point Salad mechanism. So, but it does present in a beautiful box, very colorful cards, and that's why it's but a very simple game and can be a unique addition to your gaming library. Now, number 3 is going to be a party game. It's called Clover. This falls in the same category or the same family as Just One, Master Words, or Code Names. It is a word game. What it gives you is it has clover shaped petals, plastic boards on which you will be writing. Each board can fit 4 cards. These cards are square with words on them. Now you will be flipping these and using 2 words at a time, the 2 words on the edge of a clover. Now each petal of the clover, 2 words will come, and you have to write 1 word that describes these 2 words in one pattern. Once you have written these 4 words on the 4 petals, each word representing 2 words which are on the cards will be removed from the petals of the clover. These will be shuffled with 1 additional card and then given to the guesser. And now the guesser will be trying to actually flip these cards and trying to find out that which of your word represents. He will be rotating and seeing that which of these words fit the hint that you have given. So it's slightly hard to explain without the actual physical components, but the concept is going to be that it's 1 word and multiple orientation of words that can fit on that clover board. So it might look in explanation it might look more confusing, but when you have the components in front of you, it's very simple. So you can just flip the cards and try to see, okay, which 2 words can actually match this. But the unique thing comes that many times these hints can be confusing, or the random card that got added to your deck can add a lot more confusion than you expected. And that's where the fun comes in this game. So it's a co-op game. You're all trying to actually figure out the correct words, and these kind of simple word games are can always lead to a lot of fun without having any high stakes. And that's where So Clover fits very well, a cheap game which can add a lot of fun to fun times for your family. Now, the number two is going to be the Crew Mission Deep Sea, which is, of course, the sequel to the Crew Deep Sea 9. What's the name of the Quest for Planet 9? It's the sequel for that one. The Crew is a co-op trick-taking game in which with limited communication. If you don't know the Crew, then in that one what you're trying to do is that you have different suits of card. Everyone is playing co-op. You will play a card. So for example, a blue 6, you will play that blue 6, and everyone has to play a blue card now to follow it. Whoever plays the highest blue in that during that round will get to win that trick. But what you're trying to do is you will get different missions. So for example, someone specifically has to win a blue 6. Maybe it's not me. So everyone has to try and complete those certain objectives. So you will be given objectives. What this second version, the Mission Deep Sea, where you're going under the sea, adds is that instead of very specific missions, it comes with a new deck of cards which you will get to shuffle, and based on the level of difficulty, you will be taking out that many number of cards until you reach the difficulty level, and that's going to give you a mission. So every time you play, you will be getting a new type of mission that you can play with your friends. So even if you're playing first time with someone, or even if you're playing multiple times the same mission, every time the mission variety is going to be different based on what cards pulled out, and the mission variety is going to be different, which was really the thing that was a limiting factor in the original Crew. Because in the original Crew, the same mission number 34 is always going to be the same, but here now it's every time going to be different. And that's why in my opinion, the Mission Deep Sea is far better game as an individual game than the original one. So highly recommended. Now on number one is going to be Super Mega Lucky Box from Phil Walker Harding, kind of a spiritual successor to Silver and Gold and Bingo. Now my parents love Bingo, and I cannot wait to actually play this game with my parents. Super Mega Lucky Box, a fancy name and a fancy art, retro art kind of, but it's cards. You are going to just directly draw on its cards. Its cards will remind you of something like bingo tickets, or in South Asia from where I come, we have the similar game called Tambola. And in the Tambola, you will get these tickets which have these randomized numbers on them, and Super Mega Lucky Box has similar tickets. Now, you will flip a card and a number will come, and everyone can cut that number on their tickets or cards. But in this one, you will have multiple cards, so you can cut that number on any one of those cards, not all of them. And that's where the strategy is going to be, that where do you want to complete your row or column, because wherever you complete a row or column, you're going to get a reward accordingly. So there are different kind of meeples that represent the reward, and using that reward, that adds the level of strategy above bingo. Using that reward, you can get some special power that will let you help cut an additional number or complete some other row or column. And that's where the brain is going to come into play, that other than just a simple bingo. In my opinion, this is where the families and gamers can both enjoy a game, and to me that's the most fun level that you can achieve, where everyone can sit and have a perfect time. So in my opinion, the best game that came out in this low price range this year was Super Mega Lucky Box by Phil Walker Harding from Game Right Games. So that's it for me. Top 10 games which don't break your bank, which you can buy right now under $25. Hope this list was useful for you and you can find some useful games here which you can easily fit in your pocket without losing much from your pocket. That's it for me. Happy gaming.